Steady now.
One of Sega's most pivotal series during the late 80s was Shinobi, capitalising on the surging popularity of ninjas during the period. Offering technical showcases for their platforms and challenging games aplenty, the series is one of many to have suffered a diminished presence during recent years, aside from a 3DS title in 2011. Some 14 years later, Joe Musashi would finally return with Art of Vengeance. Developed by Lizardcube, themselves involved in another Sega revival in the form of Streets of Rage 4 back in 2020, and much like that game, this entry will please longtime fans and newcomers no end.
However, the cunning ruse is already well aware of the Oboro, their capabilities, and their location.
As the title suggests, this tale is a story of revenge. Joe Musashi's Oboro clan is the last faction who can stand up to the paramilitary dictatorship of the ENE Corporation, a mix of technological and supernatural forces. They are fully aware of this, and thus launch a strike on his home, leaving most of his clansmen and trainees dead.
Before he even had a chance to save them, the village had been razed, and the Oboro clan was turned to stone.
Musashi begins a quest to strike down the corporation, recruiting unlikely allies and cutting through hordes of soldiers and yokai. It's a spare yet effective tale, told through stylish cutscenes and a fair bit of in-mission dialogue.
So, you're the Shinobi, the man who failed his clan.
With Joe's mute yet badass persona carrying the load as scene-chewing villains taunt him before fights, almost like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Such fury in your eyes. Tell me, how badly do you want to kill me?
As with Lizardcube's prior projects, Art of Vengeance features hand-drawn visuals that look incredible, both artistically and technically. The animations are simply incredible, capturing each movement flawlessly, whether it's Musashi's sword strikes or enemy wind-ups on their attacks. Environments are varied and beautifully crafted, ranging from the rustling fields and ash-covered village of Musashi's clan to an extravagant lantern festival replete with gigantic balloons. The mix of futuristic cityscapes and ancient locales makes for a welcome contrast. Performance is rock solid at 60 frames per second, meaning everything flows flawlessly, like a painting come to life. The audio also deserves praise for an eclectic yet effective soundtrack that mixes pulse-pounding electronica chase themes, remixes of classic themes, and a jamming map theme. The effects for combat, monster cries, and finishers all hit the mark too. Playing this Shinobi is a joy. Each of the 14 missions see you guiding Musashi through a stage while platforming and fighting ENE forces in combat, usually concluding with a climactic boss fight. The progression proves interesting, akin to a Metroidvania in that stages are expansive and feature a ton of hidden pathways and secrets to uncover, many of which require abilities you'll learn later on down the line. Joe gains access to traversal tools such as a glider, claws to scale certain walls, and a grapple hook, and many of these are used even in the earliest stages. It rewards return visits to stages, meaning you'll likely get a lot more than just an initial playthrough out of each stage. Collectible coins unlock items in the shop, amulets with buffs, and there are even hidden outfits to be found. It proves super enticing. The controls can make or break this kind of game, but luckily, both platforming and combat flow smoothly. You can perform a roll over objects, jump between two walls, and dash in mid-air, all of which feel easy to execute, yet still tricky due to awkwardly placed foes and hazards. Combat is tougher, in that on the default setting, enemies can hit quite hard, and Joe starts off quite weak in comparison. But there's also a rhythmic flow to fighting that rewards combos and flurries of moves. You can strike with a sword lightly or heavily, throw shuriken, and equip Ninpo magic abilities which charge up with strikes. After building up a separate meter, you can also perform ninjutsu, which are screen-filling abilities that can be especially effective for combos. It's worth keeping those alive, as you can then utilise combo amulets, which offer perks such as coins being rewarded with every strike. It's generally a rewarding, gratifying system to master, and one that only grows as you find more equipment to use, and high intensity bosses will really test your mettle. Those wanting a challenge equal to prior games will likely find it, especially in a lot of the later hidden areas which have fiendish platforming gauntlets that require near perfect precision to pass through unscathed. There's a couple of bonus stages too, which test your reflexes but reward upgrades and coin if you can get through unscathed. It can skewer towards frustration at times, as some enemy types will cause you to pull your hair out. A particular late game foe, who can pass through the environment to avoid attacks, is infuriating. However, there are difficulty options that can ease certain aspects of combat and damage taken during platforming, offering a degree of accessibility for newcomers, and these frustrations are usually pretty rare. After clearing the game initially, aside from the aforementioned incentive to revisit stages for those previously blocked secrets, new modes also become available. Arcade mode tests your speed and skill as you're scored upon completing a stage, a true test of your skills especially if you covet the highest rank. Boss Rush mode also becomes available, letting you run a gauntlet for a vast majority of those encounters, again for the best time. Considering it retails significantly below a full retail price, there's a generous package of modes to help an already decently sized game. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is another superb SEGA rebirth from Lizardcube, a tribute to past glories that modernises the classics for a gorgeous art style, technical prowess, and rewarding structure. The mix of Metroidvania and that combination of platforming and swordplay works a treat. Plentiful content more than justifies its lower price tag, and the soundtrack deserves a listen outside of the game. It's that good. There are a couple of teeth-grinding moments, though certainly fewer than some of the earlier entries, and nowhere near enough to ruin the game. Shinobi fans, those wanting a beautiful 2D game, or general platforming aficionados would do well to seek this one out sharpish.